The power outages hit every major city on Earth at the same time. New York, Tokyo, London, Lagos, Sydney all went dark within minutes of each other. People thought it was a solar flare or a cyber attack. No one looked up to the sky to see the truth. Samantha Wells worked late that night in her lab at the Global Defense Center. As head of the new Xenobiology Division, she had been studying samples from Lieutenant Caleb Foster for months. His blood work showed something strange, tiny particles that seemed to move with purpose. When the power went out, her backup generator kicked in. Through her powerful microscope, she watched as the particles in Caleb's blood sample suddenly began to glow bright purple. "That's not possible," she whispered to herself. Her phone rang. It was Commander Olivia Brennan. "Sam, are you seeing this?" Olivia asked. "The satellite feeds are picking up disturbances in the upper atmosphere. Something's up there, but our radar can't get a clear picture." "I think they're here," Samantha said. "The aliens from Proxima Centauri. And I think they've been here all along, in a way. You need to get Foster to a secure location right now." Across town, Caleb woke up sweating from another dream about the alien queen. This time she had been showing him something. A kind of map of human cities with strange energy readings coming from them. He didn't understand what it meant, but he felt sick with worry. His phone rang. It was Commander Brennan. "Foster, stay where you are. I'm sending a team to pick you up. Don't talk to anyone. Don't open the door for anyone except our people. Understand?" Before Caleb could answer, his apartment door burst open. 3 men in black uniforms rushed in. They weren't Space Force, they were from Earth Defense, the military branch responsible for planetary security. "Lieutenant Foster, you need to come with us now," the lead officer said. "Earth Defense has taken over this operation." They rushed him to a car waiting outside. As they drove through the darkened city, Caleb saw strange lights in the sky, quick flashes of purple that disappeared as soon as he tried to focus on them. At the defense center, General Maya Rodriguez was not having a good day. First the power outages, then reports of unidentified flying objects that kept disappearing from radar, and now this mess with the young lieutenant who might be compromised by alien technology. "Tell me again what you found in his blood," she said to Dr. Wells. "Quantum particles, General. They're not just tracking devices. They're changing his DNA little by little. I don't think it's meant to harm him, but it's definitely changing him." "And you think these aliens are responsible for the power outages?" "I'm certain of it. They're scouting us, mapping our defenses." General Rodriguez made a hard decision. She ordered a strike team to target one of the strange radar blips over the Pacific Ocean. Earth's newest weapon, a pulse cannon that could theoretically disrupt any electronic system, fired at the spot where their best sensors indicated something was hiding. To everyone's shock, the weapon hit something. A ship suddenly appeared where empty sky had been before. It was smaller than the one Commander Brennan had described, but clearly of the same design, crystalline with the same purple energy flowing through it. The ship damaged by the pulse cannon fell toward the ocean. "What have you done?" Samantha asked, horrified. "My job," the general replied coldly. "Defending Earth." Within hours, a recovery team found the crashed ship. Inside was a pilot, barely alive, a female Nixian named Lyria. They brought her to a secure facility deep under the defense center. Caleb insisted on being present when they questioned her. "I might be able to understand her better," he said. "I've been having these dreams. I think I can help." The interrogation room was cold and bright. Lyria sat across from Caleb and General Rodriguez. The alien looked similar to the Queen from Caleb's memories, but smaller, with simpler clothes and only a hint of stars in her eyes. "Why are you here?" the general demanded. "Is this an invasion?" The translator struggled with Lyria's quantum language, but it managed to convert enough. "Not invasion," Lyria said, looking at Caleb. "Queen Zylara wants only him." "Why? What's so special about one human?" Lyria's galaxy eyes focused on Caleb. "Your kind has something we lost long ago, and she believes this human carries the purest form of it." "Of what?" Caleb asked, speaking directly to the alien for the first time. "The ability to change," Lyria said. "To adapt, to evolve. Our people are dying because we cannot change anymore." Back in her crystal palace, Queen Zylara received the news of Lyria's capture. She had not wanted conflict, but the humans had fired first. Now she had no choice but to accelerate her plans. "Prepare the transport team," she ordered. "It's time to bring the human to me." On Earth, Samantha worked day and night trying to understand the quantum particles. She discovered they created a kind of psychic link between Caleb and the alien queen. Every time he dreamed of her, she was actually communicating with him. "Can you control these dreams?" Samantha asked Caleb. "I don't know. I never tried to. They just happen. Tonight, when you dream of her, try to ask questions. Find out what she really wants." That night, in a secure room at the Defense Center, Caleb went to sleep with monitors attached to his head. Samantha and Olivia watched his brainwaves from the next room. In his dream, he stood in a crystal hall. Queen Zalara sat on a throne that seemed to be made of frozen light. "You're really here, aren't you?" Caleb asked. "In my mind somehow." "Yes," the queen replied. Her voice was clearer here than it had been through the translator. "Our minds touch across the stars." "Why me?" "What do you want from me?" The queen rose from her throne and walked toward him. Up close, she was even more beautiful and terrifying. "My people are dying," she said. "For 10,000 years we have mastered space and time, but we cannot master our own bodies anymore. We cannot adapt to new challenges. Each generation, fewer children are born. And you think I can help? How? Human DNA is remarkable. You adapt so quickly to new environments. And you. Your genetic pattern is special, pure, uncorrupted. If we combined our genetics, we might save my species." Caleb felt a chill. "You want my DNA? You could have just asked for samples." The queen's galaxy eyes seemed sad. "It is more than that. The process requires closeness, what you might call a bond. A joining." Caleb realized what she meant. "You want me to be your mate? Consort is our word. And yes, our scientists believe our genetic merger could create a being of unprecedented adaptability, a new future for my people." Before Caleb could respond, the dream began to fade. He woke up in the secure room with Samantha and Olivia standing over him. "Did you hear all that?" he asked them. "Enough," Olivia said grimly. "She wants to use you to create some kind of hybrid offspring." "We need to increase security," Samantha said. "If she wants him that badly, she'll try to take him." None of them knew that 3 Nixian warriors were already inside the defense center, using technology that let them phase through solid walls. They moved silently toward Caleb's room, ready to complete their mission. The Shadow War was about to become very real. The stars looked different from deep space. Olivia Brennan had been on the USS Horizon for 3 years now, but she never got used to how the stars looked without Earth's atmosphere in the way. They didn't twinkle out here. They just watched, cold and steady. "Commander, we're picking up something strange," said Keith, the young man at the radar station. His fingers moved quickly over the screen. "It's big. Very big." Olivia walked over to his station and looked at the screen. A massive object was moving toward them from the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. The object was 3 times bigger than their ship. "Full stop," she ordered. "Keep a safe distance. Let's see what we're dealing with." The crew followed her orders without question. The horizon slowed to a stop. Through the main window, they could now see the object. It wasn't like any spacecraft they had ever seen before. It looked like it was made of crystal, and it glowed with a strange purple light. "Try to talk to them," Olivia said to Patty, the communications officer. Patty sent message after message, using all the standard greetings and on all frequencies. For hours, there was no response. "Maybe they don't understand us," said Dr. Greg Lowe, the science officer. "Or maybe they don't want to talk." Just as Olivia was about to order the ship to back away slowly, a bright light appeared in the middle of the bridge. The light took shape, forming what looked like a woman but not a human woman. She was tall, at least 7 feet, with skin that shimmered like pearls in sunlight. Her eyes were the most striking feature. They seemed to contain tiny galaxies swirling with stars and cosmic dust. "I am Queen Zylara of the Nixian Empire," the figure said. The ship's translator struggled to keep up with her strange language. It sounded like she was speaking several sentences at once on different levels. "I rule 17 star systems beyond your knowledge." Olivia stepped forward. "I am Commander Olivia Brennan of Earth's Unified Space Force. We come in peace and seek only to explore and learn." The alien queen's galaxy eyes moved around the bridge, studying each crew member. Then her gaze stopped on one person. Caleb Foster was the youngest human ever sent on a deep space mission. At just 22 years old, he had shown amazing skills in xenobiology, the study of possible alien life. His curly brown hair and boyish face made him look even younger than he was. The queen's expression changed. Even across species, Olivia could tell the look was one of intense interest. The translator finally caught a clear statement from the Queen. "This one, he will be mine," as she pointed directly at Caleb. Caleb stepped back, his face pale with shock. Olivia moved to stand between him and the hologram. "With respect, Your Majesty, Lieutenant Foster is under my command and protection. We would welcome peaceful contact between our peoples, but my crew is not available for taking." The hologram of Queen Zylara tilted her head, as if Olivia's words were a puzzle she couldn't solve. Without another word, the hologram disappeared. Through the window, they watched as the crystal ship seemed to fold space around itself. A swirling hole opened in front of it, a wormhole, something humans had only dreamed of creating. The ship slipped into the hole and then both were gone. "What just happened?" Caleb asked, his voice shaking slightly. "I don't know," Olivia said, "but I don't like it. We're going back to Earth. Now." As the horizon turned back toward home, no one noticed the tiny purple spark that had attached itself to the ship's hull, and no one, not even Caleb himself, knew about the similar spark now flowing through his bloodstream. The journey back to Earth would take months. During that time, Caleb began to have strange dreams. He saw crystal cities where light moved in impossible ways. He saw oceans made of something like water, but it flowed up instead of down, and time seemed to move differently there. He didn't tell anyone about these dreams. He was afraid they would think he was going crazy. What he didn't know was that Queen Zylara was watching him through these dreams. The tiny spark in his blood was a quantum particle, a piece of advanced technology that allowed her to track him across space and even form a connection to his mind. Back in her crystal palace on her homeworld, Queen Zylara watched the human ship travel through space. Her advisors were worried. "My queen, why focus on this one human? They are a primitive species," said Krell, her chief scientist. "You do not see what I see," the queen replied. "Their kind has something we lost long ago. And this young one, his genetic pattern is special, pure. He could be the key to saving our people." The Nixians were dying. For all their advanced technology and ability to bend space and time, they had a terrible problem. Over thousands of years, their genes had become too perfect, too specialized. They could no longer adapt to new challenges. They could no longer evolve. "Prepare the scout ships," Queen Zylara ordered. "When the humans reach their home, we will follow. But no one is to harm them, especially not the young one." On Earth, no one knew what was coming. The governments of the world were busy with their own problems. Only when the horizon finally returned to Earth's orbit 6 months later did anyone learn about the strange encounter in deep space. Olivia made her report to the Space Force generals. "I believe the alien queen showed interest in Lieutenant Foster, but I don't know why. Their technology is far beyond ours. If they wanted to take him by force, they could have." The generals didn't seem worried. "One ship, even a big one, is no threat to Earth," said General Pat Rogers. "But we'll increase patrols in the outer system just in case." That night, as Caleb slept in his apartment in New Seattle, his dreams were more vivid than ever. He saw Queen Zylara looking directly at him. "Soon," she said in his dream, "soon you will understand why it must be this way." He woke up in a cold sweat just as the lights in his apartment flickered and went out. All across the city, the power was failing. And high above, invisible to Earth sensors, the first Nixian scout ships entered orbit. The Shadow War had begun. The alarms went off at 3:17 in the morning. Red lights flashed through the hallways of the defense center as security teams rushed to respond. Somehow, intruders had bypassed every layer of security. Olivia was the first to reach Caleb's room. She had been sleeping in the office next door, worried that something like this might happen. When she burst through the door, gun in hand, she saw 3 tall figures surrounding Caleb's bed. They looked like the alien queen, but wore tight-fitting suits that seemed to bend light around them. "Get away from him," Olivia shouted, firing her weapon. The energy blast passed right through one of the aliens as if it wasn't there. The alien turned toward Olivia, raised a crystal device, and fired. Olivia felt a burning pain in her chest as she fell backward. Caleb jumped out of bed. "Stop, don't hurt her." One of the aliens grabbed Caleb's arm. The touch felt like electricity running through his body. His vision blurred, and he felt like he was falling through space. The last thing he saw before everything went dark was Samantha running into the room, her face twisted with fear and anger. When Caleb woke up, He was lying on a soft surface that seemed to adjust to his body. The room around him was made of the same crystal material he had seen in his dreams. Outside a large window he could see stars, but not in any pattern he recognized. He was no longer on Earth. A door opened, though he couldn't see any seams where it had been. Queen Xylara entered, now even more impressive in person than in his dreams or as a hologram. She wore a flowing dress that seemed to be made of liquid starlight. "You are awake," she said. Her voice sounded different here, less like many voices speaking at once and more like music. "I hope you were not injured in the extraction." Caleb sat up. "Extraction? You mean kidnapping. And your people hurt my commander. Commander Brennan was only stunned. She will recover fully." The Queen sat beside him on the edge of the bed. "I regret the necessity of bringing you here this way, but your military leaders gave us no choice when they attacked our scout ship." "Where am I?" "You are aboard the Eternal Radiance, my flagship. We are currently in orbit around your moon, hidden from Earth sensors." Caleb tried to stay calm. "Why not just ask for my help? Why all the secrecy and quantum particles in my blood?" The Queen's galaxy eyes seemed to dim slightly. "My people have been observing humans for decades. Your kind tends to react with fear and violence to things you don't understand. The particles were a way to learn about you safely." Over the next few days, Caleb was allowed to move freely around parts of the ship. He met other Nixians who treated him with a mixture of curiosity and respect. They showed him their technology. Machines that could manipulate the basic building blocks of matter, engines that folded space itself, medical devices that could heal almost any injury in minutes. He also learned more about their problem. The Nixians had mastered genetic engineering thousands of years ago, perfecting their bodies and minds. But that perfection had led to stagnation. Their DNA had become so specialized that it could no longer adapt to new challenges or environments. The smallest change in their carefully controlled world could be deadly to them. "How many of you are there?" Caleb asked a Nixian scientist named Varys. "Fewer each year," Varys replied sadly. "Once we numbered in the billions across 17 worlds. Now we are less than 1,000,000. In another century we may be gone entirely." Meanwhile on Earth, Olivia had recovered from the alien weapon. She was furious about Caleb's kidnapping and demanded action from General Rodriguez. "We have to get him back," she insisted. "They had no right to take him. And how do you suggest we do that?" the general asked. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours. We got lucky with that one scout ship. Their main vessel would destroy us." Samantha had a different approach. She had been working with Lyria, the captured Nixian pilot, who had been moved to a more comfortable facility as a gesture of goodwill. "Tell me more about this genetic merger the Queen wants," Samantha said to Lyria. "It is more than just physical mating," Lyria explained. "For Nixians, the process involves a quantum entanglement of genetic material. The offspring would carry traits from both parents, but enhanced in ways neither species could achieve alone." "And it has to be Caleb specifically?" "Why?" Lyria hesitated. "The Queen has not shared all her reasons with me, but there is an ancient prophecy among our people, a prediction that when our species faces extinction, salvation will come through a union with a species that still carries the spark of adaptation. The offspring of this union is called the Star Child in our texts." Samantha thought about this. "What if we could find another way? A way to help your people without requiring Caleb to stay with the Queen forever?" "What do you mean?" "The quantum particles in his blood. They allow for a connection between him and the Queen. What if we could modify those particles to facilitate genetic exchange without direct breeding?" Lyria's galaxy eyes widened. "That might be possible, but the Queen's Council would resist. Some of them want to take a more direct approach, harvesting genetic material from thousands of humans, not just one. Then we need to talk to the Queen directly, before her council convinces her to start a real war." Back on the Nixian ship, Caleb was starting to see Queen Xylara differently. She wasn't the cold alien being he had first thought. She was a leader desperate to save her people, willing to try anything, even forming a bond with a species completely different from her own. One evening, as they watched Earth through a special viewer that could see through the ship's cloaking field, the Queen asked him a strange question. "Your people have a concept called love. Can you explain it to me?" Caleb was surprised. "You don't have love? We have genetic compatibility. Pairs are selected based on optimal genetic outcomes. But this love you humans speak of, choosing a mate based on emotional connection, This is alien to us. Love it's hard to explain. It's when you care about someone else's happiness as much as your own, when you would sacrifice for them, not because it's logical, but because you can't imagine not doing it. The Queen was quiet for a long time. I have been studying your broadcasts, your stories. This concept fascinates me. I wonder if our ancestors once had it before we engineered it away. Caleb realized something important. You don't just want my genes, do you? You want to understand what makes humans different, why we can adapt when your people can't. Yes, she admitted, and I believe it may be connected to this love concept. The willingness to change for others, to put their needs before the cold logic of survival. Their conversation was interrupted by an alarm. A Nixian officer rushed in. My Queen, Earth vessels approach. They have somehow detected us. On the main screen, Caleb saw a small fleet of Earth ships. Leading them was a new vessel he didn't recognize, sleeker and more advanced than any Earth ship he had seen before. That's impossible, the Queen said. Our cloaking technology. They are being guided, the officer said. By Lyria, the Queen's face hardened. Prepare the defense systems. Wait. Caleb grabbed her arm, a gesture that shocked the other Nixians present. No one touched the Queen without permission. Please don't start a war. Let me talk to them. The Queen looked at his hand on her arm, then into his eyes. Very well. Open a channel. On the screen, Commander Brennan's face appeared. She looked tired but determined. Queen Zylara, she said. We come for Lieutenant Foster. Return him to us and we can avoid conflict. Olivia, I'm okay, Caleb said, stepping into view. But there's more happening here than you know. We need to talk, all of us. The Nixians need our help. And there might be a way to give it without anyone getting hurt. As the two fleets faced each other in the shadow of Earth's moon, the future of both species hung in the balance. The space between Earth and its moon became a tense standoff. The Nixian fleet, 7 massive crystal ships arranged in a defensive pattern around the Queen's flagship, faced the much smaller Earth forces. The humans had just one advantage. Their ships had been upgraded with technology reverse-engineered from the downed Nixian scout ship. Aboard the Earth flagship, now named the USS Defiant, Commander Olivia Brennan and Dr. Samantha Wells watched the alien vessels on their view screen. They could destroy us in seconds if they wanted to, Lyria said quietly. The Nixian pilot had switched sides after learning about her people's High Council and their plans to harvest humans en masse. Then why haven't they? General Rodriguez asked. She had insisted on coming along despite the risks. Because of your Lieutenant Foster, Lyria explained, and because Queen Zylara truly does not want war. On the Queen's ship, Caleb was trying to convince Zylara to meet with the Earth delegation. Let me go to them first, he suggested. I can explain what I've learned about your people, your situation. They'll listen to me. The Queen seemed uncertain, an expression Caleb had never seen on her face before. My council advises against any direct meeting. They say the humans will try to capture me. Do you trust me? Caleb asked. The Queen's galaxy eyes studied him. An interesting question. Trust is not a concept my people rely on. We prefer certainty, predictability, but yes, I find that I do trust you, Caleb Foster. A plan was made. A neutral vessel, a small shuttle modified to support both human and Nixian life support needs, would meet halfway between the fleets. Caleb would go first, then bring back Commander Brennan and Dr. Wells for direct talks with the Queen. As Caleb's shuttle approached the Defiant, he felt both relief and worry. He was going home, but things would never be the same. He had seen too much, learned too much about the universe beyond Earth. The Defiant's docking bay opened to receive his shuttle. When he stepped out, Olivia was waiting for him. To his surprise, she hugged him tightly. Don't ever get abducted by aliens again, she said with a smile that didn't quite hide her relief. I'll try not to make it a habit, he replied. In the ship's conference room, Caleb explained everything he had learned about the Nixians, their dying civilization, their genetic problems, and the Queen's belief that human DNA might save them. She doesn't want to hurt anyone, he insisted. She's desperate to save her people. What about these quantum particles in your blood? Samantha asked. We've been studying them, and I think there might be a way to use them to help the Nixians without requiring you to stay with them permanently. That's what I wanted to talk about, Caleb said. The Queen has agreed to meet with you and Commander Brennan to discuss possibilities. General Rodriguez frowned. This could be a trap. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already, Olivia pointed out. I say we take the chance. Within hours, Olivia and Samantha joined Caleb on the shuttle back to the neutral meeting point. It was a small vessel with a single room, divided by a special barrier that allowed both species to see and hear each other while maintaining their preferred environments. Queen Zylara arrived with 2 advisors, her chief scientist, Varys, and a military commander named Taurus. The 2 groups faced each other across the barrier. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, Olivia began formally. We come seeking peaceful resolution to our current situation. As do we, the Queen replied. Lieutenant Foster has spoken highly of you both. Samantha got straight to business. We've been studying the quantum particles you placed in Lieutenant Foster's bloodstream. We believe they could be modified to facilitate genetic exchange without requiring his permanent presence with your people. Varys, the scientist, leaned forward with interest. How would this work? The particles create a quantum entanglement between Caleb's DNA and, presumably, the Queen's. With modifications, we could extend this entanglement to allow for genetic material to be exchanged at the quantum level without physical proximity. The Queen and Varys exchanged looks. This might be possible, Varys admitted, but it would require extensive testing. We're willing to work together on this, Samantha said. A joint research project that could benefit both our species. As they discussed the details, no one noticed a small device attached to the underside of the meeting vessel. No one saw it begin to glow with an energy signature that matched neither Nixian nor human technology. On the bridges of both fleets, officers suddenly noticed strange readings from their own crews. On 3 human ships and 2 Nixian vessels, crew members began acting oddly, shutting down communications, locking out command systems. Inside the meeting vessel, the first sign of trouble was when communications with both fleets suddenly cut off. What's happening? Olivia asked, trying to restore the connection. Queen Zylara's military advisor, Taurus, drew a weapon. Treachery, he snarled, pointing it at the humans. No, the Queen commanded. Lower your weapon. Taurus turned the weapon toward the Queen instead. The council was right. You are too weak to do what must be done. The humans should be harvested, not negotiated with. Caleb moved without thinking, throwing himself through the environmental barrier to knock the weapon from Taurus's hand. The alien atmosphere burned his lungs, but he managed to grab the weapon and slide it across the floor to the Queen. Taurus's form suddenly began to change. His solid body became translucent, glowing with an inner light that wasn't the typical Nixian purple, but a sickly green. What is happening to him? Samantha asked, horrified. That is not Taurus, the Queen said, her voice cold with fury. The Void Collective has infiltrated my people. The what? Olivia asked. An ancient enemy we thought long defeated. Beings of pure energy who exist by possessing other life forms. They feed on conflict and suffering. The thing that had been Taurus lunged at Caleb, its form becoming less solid with each second. Caleb felt a terrible cold as the creature tried to enter his body. The Queen fired the weapon, but the energy blast passed through the creature without effect. Varys pulled Caleb back toward the human side of the barrier, away from the creature. The barrier, Samantha shouted. It's designed to maintain different environments. Maybe it can contain that thing too. Olivia rushed to the control panel and increased the barrier's power. The creature slammed against it, howling in a voice that sounded like static electricity. It's holding for now, Olivia said, but we're trapped in here with that thing. Through the viewport they could see chaos unfolding among the fleets. Several ships on both sides had begun firing, not at the enemy fleet but at their own allies. The Void Collective has been manipulating both sides, the Queen realized. They want us to destroy each other. How long have they been influencing your people? Caleb asked, still coughing from his brief exposure to the Nixian atmosphere. Perhaps for generations, the Queen admitted. It would explain the Council's increasing aggression, their insistence on harvesting humans rather than seeking cooperation. And on our side, Olivia added, General Rodriguez's immediate military response to your scout ships. The creature continued to hurl itself against the barrier, which was beginning to flicker. We need to warn both fleets, Samantha said urgently, but communications are down. Caleb looked at the Queen. The quantum link between us, could we use it somehow? The Queen's galaxy eyes widened. Perhaps. The particles in your blood are entangled with mine. If Dr. Wells's theory is correct, we might be able to expand that entanglement. To do what? Olivia asked. To create a quantum communication channel that the void cannot block. But it would require a deep mental connection between Caleb and myself. You mean like the dream communications but stronger? Caleb asked. Much stronger. Our consciousnesses would temporarily merge. It is not without risk. Caleb looked at the failing barrier, then at the battle beginning among the fleets. We don't have a choice. Let's do it. The Queen moved as close to the barrier as she could. Caleb did the same from his side. They pressed their hands against the barrier, mirroring each other. Focus on my eyes, the Queen instructed. Feel the particles in your blood resonating with mine. As their eyes locked, Caleb felt a strange sensation, like his mind was expanding beyond his body. He could sense the Queen's thoughts, her memories, her emotions. For a species that claimed not to understand love, she had a deep capacity for it. Love for her people, for their future, and surprisingly, a growing affection for him. Together, their merged consciousness reached out, following the quantum pathways that connected them to both fleets. Through these pathways, they sent a simple message. The Void Collective has infiltrated both sides. They are not us, find them. Stop them. The barrier between them finally failed. The Void creature rushed forward, no longer bothering with a physical form, now just a cloud of sickly green energy. It engulfed both Caleb and the Queen, trying to break their connection. But their merged consciousness was stronger than the Void expected. Together, they pushed back against the invading entity, forcing it out of the meeting vessel and into the vacuum of space, where it dissipated like smoke. As their consciousnesses separated again, Caleb and the Queen collapsed exhausted. Olivia caught Caleb while Varys supported the Queen. Did it work? Caleb asked weakly. 1 year had passed since the confrontation between Earth and the Nixian Empire. The neutral meeting vessel where it all came to a head was now preserved as a monument, floating in orbit between Earth and the Moon. It served as a reminder of how close both species had come to destruction, and how they had found a way forward together. Caleb stood at the window of the new Earth-Nixian embassy, watching ships from both worlds move through the busy space lanes. Some were trading vessels, others research ships, and a few were the new joint defense cruisers built to protect against the Void Collective, which continued to make attempts to disrupt the alliance. Penny for your thoughts, said Olivia. Now Admiral Brennan after her promotion. She had been instrumental in building the military cooperation between humans and Nixians. Just thinking about how much has changed, Caleb replied. A year ago I was just a junior lieutenant. Now I'm the first human ambassador to an alien empire. You earned it. No one else could have built the bridge between our worlds the way you did. Their conversation was interrupted by a soft chime, the sound that announced the arrival of Queen Zelara. Despite her status, she insisted on following Earth diplomatic protocols when visiting the embassy. The door slid open, and the Queen entered. She still took Caleb's breath away, her iridescent skin, her galaxy eyes, her regal bearing. But now there was something else about her too, a warmth that hadn't been there before, a hint of humanity she had absorbed through their continued quantum connection. Ambassador Foster, Admiral Brennan, she greeted them formally, then smiled, an expression she had learned from humans. Or may I call you Caleb and Olivia since this is a private meeting? Of course, Zelara, Caleb said. He was the only human who used her name without her title, a special privilege that had raised eyebrows among both species. They moved to a sitting area designed to accommodate both human and Nixian physiology. A server brought refreshments, tea for the humans and for the Queen a glowing liquid that smelled like cinnamon and starlight. The medical research team has made a breakthrough, Zelara announced. Dr. Wells and Varys believe they have perfected the quantum gene therapy. Caleb felt a surge of hope. So it's working? Your people are regaining the ability to adapt? The first test subjects are showing remarkable progress. Their DNA is becoming more flexible, more resilient, while maintaining the beneficial aspects of Nixian genetics, and all without requiring direct breeding between our species. Olivia raised her teacup in a toast. To Dr. Wells and her team, I knew she could do it. The solution had come from studying the quantum particles that had first connected Caleb and the Queen. Samantha had discovered that these particles could be modified to carry genetic information at the quantum level, allowing for a kind of genetic exchange that didn't require physical reproduction. The therapy used small amounts of human DNA, mostly from volunteers like Caleb, to reintroduce genetic diversity into the Nixian population. There's more, Zylara continued. The first hybrid embryos are developing well. This was a separate project, a small group of human and Nixian volunteers who had chosen to have children together, creating a new species that would inherit the best of both worlds. These children would be raised as bridge builders between the two civilizations. How many now? Caleb asked. 23. The genetic compatibility is better than we expected. Dr. Wells believes the quantum link between our species has been facilitating adaptation on both sides. Olivia checked her watch. Speaking of Samantha, we should head to the ceremony. She'll never forgive us if we're late. The ceremony was being held in the Grand Hall of the Earth Nixian Science Academy, a massive structure built in orbit around Earth. It was the formal signing of the Concord, the treaty that would govern relations between humans and Nixians for generations to come. Representatives from both species filled the hall. On the Earth side, there was General Rodriguez, now a strong supporter of the Alliance after being freed from Void influence. Next to her stood political leaders from major Earth nations and colonies. On the Nixian side stood the reformed High Council, with Lyria now promoted to ambassador among them. At the center of it all was a pedestal with the Concord, a document written in both human languages and the complex quantum script of the Nixians. Dr. Samantha Wells and Varys stood beside it as the chief architects of the scientific cooperation that had made peace possible. Caleb and Queen Zylara walked together down the central aisle. The crowd parted for them, many whispering about the special bond between the human ambassador and the alien queen. Some called it friendship, others suspected romance, but most understood it was something entirely new, a connection that transcended both species' understanding of relationships. As they reached the pedestal, Samantha smiled at them. "Ready to make history?" she asked. "We already have," Caleb replied. "This is just making it official." The ceremony was broadcast to both worlds. Caleb spoke first, addressing the gathered representatives and the billions watching from afar. 1 year ago, Queen Zylara declared that I would be hers. At the time, those words frightened me. I thought they meant captivity, loss of freedom. What I didn't understand was that being hers would come to mean something entirely different, being a partner in building a bridge between our worlds. The Queen spoke next, her musical voice carrying clearly through the hall. "For 10,000 years, my people mastered the stars but lost something precious within ourselves, the ability to change, to grow, to see beyond our own perfection. Humans have given us back that gift, and in return we offer the knowledge of the cosmos, the technology to explore it, and our commitment to face the future as allies." Together, they signed the Concord, Caleb with a pen of Earth manufacture, Zylara with a crystal stylus that recorded her quantum signature. As they finished, the document glowed briefly with purple light, then settled into its final form. The hall erupted in applause. The two species, once on the brink of war, were now formally allied against the Void Collective and whatever other challenges the universe might hold. After the ceremony, Caleb and Zylara slipped away from the celebrations to a quiet observation deck. Earth hung below them, a blue jewel in the blackness of space, while Zylara's flagship, the Eternal Radiance, glittered like a crystal above. "Do you ever regret it?" Zylara asked suddenly. "Being chosen by me that day in deep space?" Caleb considered the question. "I've lost some things, a normal life on Earth, the chance to just be an ordinary person. But I've gained so much more. Knowledge of the universe, a purpose greater than myself, and—" He hesitated. "And?" she prompted. "And you," he said simply. "Whatever this is between us, friendship, partnership, or something our languages don't have words for yet, I wouldn't trade it for anything." The Queen took his hand in hers, a very human gesture she had adopted. Her touch still sent a small electric current through him, a reminder of their quantum connection. "The prophecy spoke of a star child born of two worlds," she said. "The literal interpretation led my council to believe it meant a biological child. But perhaps the prophecy meant something else, the birth of a new relationship between our species." Caleb smiled. "Maybe. Or maybe prophecies are just guidelines, not rulebooks." "A very human perspective," she noted with amusement. "Is that a complaint?" "Not at all. It is why you were chosen. She looked out at the stars. When I said he will be mine, I did not fully understand what I meant. I thought I needed your genetics, your adaptability. But what I truly needed was your humanity, your capacity for empathy, for seeing beyond cold logic to possibilities I could never imagine alone. A notification chimed softly. The first joint human-Nixian exploration vessel was ready for its maiden voyage. As the ambassador and the queen, they were expected to give the send-off speech. As they walked back toward the main hall, Xylara stopped suddenly. There is something I have been meaning to ask you. What is it? This human concept of love, I have been studying it extensively. At first it seemed illogical, even dangerous. Putting another's needs before one's own survival contradicts evolutionary principles. But, Caleb prompted, sensing there was more. But I have come to believe it may be the most advanced adaptation of all, the willingness to change oneself for another, to grow beyond what one was designed to be. My people lost this somewhere in our pursuit of perfection. And now, the Queen's galaxy eyes seemed to hold entire universes as she looked at him. Now I believe I'm experiencing it firsthand. Is that not remarkable? Caleb felt his heart beating faster. Extremely remarkable. Then perhaps the prophecy is being fulfilled after all, just not as we expected. Perhaps being mine and being yours are not so different. As they rejoined the celebration, where humans and Nixians mingled freely, planning the future they would build together, Caleb thought about how a single moment had changed everything, when an alien queen had pointed at him and declared, "He will be mine." Sometimes the most frightening moments in life turn out to be the beginning of the greatest adventures. And sometimes being chosen by someone completely different from yourself is exactly the path you were meant to find. The stars stretched out before them, waiting to be explored by their united peoples, and whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The human who had learned to see beyond his world,